Struggle and squirm while you want it, ulcers. With my army of cybernets, I, Asmodeus, will overtake mankind and carve my name into the suns.
Hey!
What is the meaning of this?
Sorry,
Who dares interrupt
it's me, Harmless. Hi, I've self-inserted myself into this commercial so that I can promote my game.
The Vulture's hero, limbs of cognition.
Yeah, exactly. It's an action RPG made in RPG Maker MV, and it's set in a dystopian sci-fi, and there's like blood and shit. You're kind of a mess, but like in a hot way.
Never mind, just get on with the podcast.
Welcome to RPG Maker Cola. This episode was filmed in front of a live studio audience on twitch.tv. That's just for context. For more content, visit twitch.tv/RPGMakerCola. For more content, visit it. Now, on to the show. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to RPG Maker Cola.
Hello and welcome to the RPG Maker Cola Podcast. Live to a studio audience. We're broadcasting this live to twitch.tv. Wow, there's a crowd. Everyone's here. From Cooper Kush to the Great Perhaps. I see you, Harmless. I see you, Box Jess. Final Boss Blues. I forgot which names I've said. Kupo Coffee, Manda Jan. Anyone who's listening to this via the audio medium, you're going to be very confused. Anyway, hey RPG Maker Cola listeners. Welcome to RPG Maker Cola Season 2. This is your fizzy soda-filled source of content for game development opinions that mean very little in the grand scheme of things. It's your favorite RPG Maker podcast, RPG Maker Cola. I'm your host Benny, also known as Cash, also known as the Puzzle Snob, and this is the place for you. It's a chill space where we get together skilled developers from the RPG Maker community to chat cordially and occasionally non-cordially about game development, game design, and probably a whole bunch of other stuff too. It's casual, it's cool, it's cola. So today I have two guests that I'm super excited to introduce. I think they're very, very unique and they bring interesting games, but not only do they create games and develop games very well, they also stream stuff. So they're streamers, they're Twitch streamers, just like me. Our first guest that I'd like to introduce today is the creator of such games as Recruit 1. Recruit 1 is a game where you navigate through over 20 varied and challenging levels, using your initiative to traverse deadly environments where one wrong step means certain failure. You solve puzzles and find the hidden challenge, and prove you're worthy of the title Recruit 1. It just looks really nice. I like the way that it kind of plays and looks, and I like abstract puzzle games like this. It seems really good. They are also the creator of a game called Fragments, and this is a game where a character named Evan faces a frustrating battle with his conscience, one that he can not afford to lose or will spend the rest of his life behind bars. This game seems really interesting as well. I really love the concept and I love the way that the palette it plays with palette and colors. And then also they are the creator of a game that is upcoming called Lightway Lines. I'll be honest, I don't know fully what this game is about, but it's set in the future. It's a sci-fi game where the desire for seamless interstellar travel continues to grow. Apparently, you explore a cruiser and unearth what really happened behind it. There's fast-paced action RPG-style combat, and a lot of custom artwork with detailed, interesting environments, and a really awesome soundtrack, apparently, so I can't wait to try that one out. I'm really happy to introduce the developer of these such games. It's my privilege and honor to introduce the one and only codapill.
That is quite the introduction. It's so nice. Thank you. And don't worry, nobody knows what Lightway Lines is about.
Yeah, I mean, these games look awesome. I think you're a great developer. I've seen you do a little bit of stuff on stream, and I'm just really excited to have you on board. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And our second guest, for we do have two guests, they're on the way to create a RPG based on the one and only Christian genius billionaire Kanye West.
True.
That you heard that correct. True, very true. So it's about a guy, you might know him for real life. He raps and stuff, and there are also like a whole bunch of other like rappers and artists here as well. Deep within the hidden catacombs below the streets of Chicago, an evil has been ruminating. and it's up to this Christian genius billionaire Kanye West to team up with people like Kid Cudi to create Kids See Ghost, and it's just like seems like a really awesome like send up of hip hop culture centered around Kanye's personality, and with that signature sort of comedy that I expect from this person. I'm very appreciative of this person. I'm so thankful that they're on board. This game is I'm not sure if this game is set before or after the divorce. Someone is asking on Twitch. I am not sure. But we'll see what happens. So this game is still in development, and it's going to be maybe good. I'm really hoping it's good.
Me too.
Hey, I'll introduce you soon. Yeah, this game looks legit, and it looks awesome, and I'm really, really proud to introduce this cool person. It's the one and only awesome riggy2k3.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I really hope it's good as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here too, and it's a pleasure to have two guests who are really like tolerant of my scuffed introductions. I'm in a very kind of chaotic mood today. Thanks to the both of our guests for being here, and now that we're well acquainted, it's Buzz Corner time. Welcome to the Buzz Corner. Here we talk about what RPG Maker games are gaining buzz at the moment. I've asked our guests to bring one game if they can to talk about that they're pretty interested in. And they don't have to have played it, it just has to have a game page or something that looks interesting to them. I'm going to bring a game called Rust and Blood. Mm-hmm. Now, this game I played a little while ago. It's by a developer named Snow Owl. This developer has created kind of horror and creepypasta style games for a while now. The history kind of goes back like to 2011 and stuff. They've created games such as Miserere, It Moves, and this was an event game created for Halloween Jam. And yeah, this game, I played it a little while ago. It's like a melding of like survival and like RPG elements. See, there's like a day counter and a time counter to kind of lead you through, like you have hunger, like that you get hungry and you have to eat food to continue, but it has this kind of like horror-esque what's the word for it? It's like, what's the guy who's afraid of the tentacles? Lovecraftian.
Afraid of the tentacles.
Yeah, Lovecraftian kind of aesthetic. I simplified it there a little bit, but basic thing is that you like kind of go about these creepy corridors and this sort of dreamlike aesthetic and filled with rust and blood, and you're this little inky character just trying to get through the day without getting too hungry or thirsty. Kind of a little bit like real life, but yeah, it's really weird. I found how they kind of melded horror like Silent Hill and like creepy like David Lynch style stuff. Well, not David Lynch, it's more like, I don't know, yeah, some weird out there horror stuff with Stardew Valley essentially, and it's just like really, really super interesting. I recommend anyone to try out Rust and Blood if you can stomach it.
That looks really good.
Yeah, it does. Interesting style. Looks very bleak.
Makes you feel weak inside.
Yeah, I like it though.
That's Rust and Blood. Riggy, what's been buzzing for you at the moment?
Okay, so I've been all about Omori lately. That's the Omocat game that was kickstarted in 2014, and then it disappeared pretty much up until last Christmas when they were just like, okay, it's coming out, here it comes. And I didn't come in with very many expectations, but like it left being one of my top 10 RPGs of all time. It's just a fantastic story, a crazy turn of events that kind of happens as you go through it, a really, really incredible control of atmosphere and like the narrative and everything, and it's just a good RPG, and it still feels like an RPG Maker game. So like, while a lot of people kind of get their own experience out of it, for me it just feels like like the RPG Maker community kind of coming full circle. And it's neat if you actually get to the end or whatever and you see the credits. A lot of people that were pretty big in like the community had little like hands or a little involvement in the project as well. So I recommend it literally to anybody that wants to play a really good RPG, or if you like something like Undertale or Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass and you're looking for that kind of an itch.
Yeah. I'm curious about this. I don't want to spoil it for myself because I haven't played it, but that seems bad because like I've got friends who worked on it. But like you said, it's a little bit like Undertale, and I think it looks like it got some like Yume Nikki kind of exploration style stuff in it. What would you say is like the defining? Is there like something that makes it totally different to those influences? Does it feel different to those? Is it more epic or like kind of what makes it different?
Parts of it kind of feel like almost like callbacks to these things, like Yume Nikki especially. So it kind of feels like a tribute, but it also kind of has like its own thing going for it that kind of I think separates it from itself as much as it pays homage.
Flexiboot in the chat says, challenge, describe a surreal RPG game without mentioning Yume Nikki. It's quite difficult. Yeah, Yume Nikki's kind of influence is so wide, like it's so intense that that you almost can't escape it. But yeah, it seems, I'm wondering whether in future things will be influenced by Omori, or is its own sort of like distinctive thing enough to not be like a major influence on other stuff. Like, is it an influential game, or is it going to just be a game that people look at and go, that was a cool game?
Yeah.
It's gorgeous looking. I can't wait to try it. I know Riggy's been on at me to get hold of it and get going with it, but I've kind of been dipping in and out of his streams because he's been kind of playing it over the last few weeks. But yeah, it's got that beautiful art style, very colorful, very, very rich and vibrant looking. Yeah, and it feels like such a flagship for the MV engine as well. Like, that's really nice to see. My favorite RPG Maker game is made in MV, Lockhart Indigo. Like, I really adored that game when I was playing it on stream, and this is like it just feels like another great thing, because you see so many great games in older versions of RM, and so it's nice to see that people are still bringing out top quality titles on MV and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, this game, it seems, I'm wondering about what did you feel about the battle system and stuff as well? Like, it seems like it's based on mood, neutral, like sad and happy. Did you feel like you were like satisfied by the battle system overall?
Yeah, it's interesting because when you first get into it, it kind of is overwhelming because you have like all the battlers are separated across the screen. It's kind of unusual of a layout, but once you start getting into it, it kind of feels pretty familiar. But it incorporates a lot of different like things that I've seen used as plugins in other ways in battle systems, and kind of makes it feel really unique. And some of the battles, the way that they use like the emotion meter to dictate damage or ability or that sort of thing, it was just so cool and unique. And
was it intuitive? Like, the emotion-based battling?
Yeah, I mean, it was super unique, and like it was easy to pick up once you got it. Yeah, because it's kind of like a rock paper scissors system with being happy, angry, or sad. But then as soon as you get familiar with these different emotions, like the game just completely flips that around, and you have to use it completely differently, or sometimes they'll take it away or add more to it, and it just felt so good to try. And it actually was kind of difficult in the beginning because you have to learn which emotion trumps the other one, which ways that you can use emotions as strategically to power yourself up to get through certain fights, or to even like damage the enemy,
Yeah. I mean, and what I've gained from this game, even though I've only watched it's a bit of spoilers, but I've like watched like certain parts that Riggy's played, it's just that every little bit has like polished to it. Like the backgrounds. That, I'm just struck by how well polished everything seems. It doesn't seem like anything cracks, so to speak. Like it's So it's like that's what I feel like in an RPG Maker game to get us to like the next level. I feel like it just needs to be polished to that point where you can't see past the facade. You can't see, oh wait, this is an RPG Maker game. They had limitations here or there. It feels complete. Yeah. But I haven't
even
played
certain
it,
things like.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Certain things in the game like interacting with objects in rooms. Like almost every object is interactable.
Yeah.
You know, like everything kind of has a little comment about it or like an observation. And so it kind of pulls you in, and like sometimes you'll just be clicking around or you know, pressing enter key around, and like you'll find things that you didn't even know were there, or didn't even look like anything was hidden there.
Yeah. And the one thing I think I'll bring up finally is, like, I know we've kind of touched on a lot of different things, but the one overwhelming kind of emotion that I feel people describe Omori is sadness.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Sadness. Like, I don't know whether it's the ending. I don't want to spoil it too much for myself or others, but like, I've heard that there is feelings in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's cool. It's like, it's a whole, like, I've played a lot of games in the past year or whatever because of the pandemic, but this is one of the few that actually like really tugged at my heartstrings, you know?
Yeah.
God, but a
yeah.
But that's
Very emotional feeling game. Excellent. Yeah, so that's what Reggie has been buzzing over. Now, I only opened the link for Codapill's game now. I have not seen it before, so this is legitimately a surprise, but I don't know. I just have to go with it, I guess.
You have to, Benny.
Yeah.
What game are you bringing today
You have
the Buzz Corner?
Well, Benny,
Codapill?
I'm breaking your rules just a little bit because I have two games, but like you'll see why.
Okay.
But like I was like kind of wondering why you are dubbed the puzzle snob, and I see why. This is Betty's game, Account Moo. It's like a small demo puzzle game. I only played this today, but I actually spent much longer on it than I thought I would. Like, because it says
it's hard.
It is very hard. Like it ramps up pretty quickly, but I love the minimalist style. The graphics, like the visuals, remind me of that mobile game Monument Valley a little bit. That kind of like that clean aesthetic for 3D. I don't know, it worked really well. I love the logic-y music that's playing in the background. It fits perfectly. It's very smooth, controls nicely. You've got really beautiful UI. I love that. I'm a real sucker for good UI that communicates to the player. Like, good design is all about communication, and it completely nails it, in my opinion. Even from the start of like, I know how to move my character, but I feel like you should create a game as if it's the first time the players ever tried to play a game. And so it's like, hey, it immediately fades in the arrows to move. And now we've got like somewhere to stand, and you're going to get a text box, and then we're going to have simple numbers to tell you which order to do things in. And then okay, I can learn that I push this one way, push it another way. Like, you've got obstacles that you have to clear. Little portals that will take you across to the different parts of the map to try and figure out how to get through. And I was like absolutely bamboozled on one of the levels, and I just couldn't stop because I was like, I'm gonna get this. I have to get this. And I don't play a ton of puzzle games. I'm not, despite making one or like kind of one. I don't play a ton, but once it gets hooked into me, I kind of like have to do it. And so, like, to be honest, Benny, like, you give so much to the RM community, and you talk to so many people about their games that I feel like anything you've made is worth bringing some light on and talking about. And I'd love for you to like continue with something like this. I get the whole like you can get into creative slumps, or it's hard to share your work, and I had that for a long time, and you can really and ah over the details, and I've totally been there, and I'm still there now. I just can't help it, just perfectionist, and to my own detriment. But This feels like, to me, like, I don't know, I'm just saying, like, this feels like it has legs, and I'd love to see more, basically.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I feel like a guest on my own show. Your words are like are cutting deep, and they're very they're hurty. So they're making me hurt in a good way, and I very much appreciate your encouragement. I worked last time I worked on this game was like in 2016 maybe. I didn't have a Windows computer for a while, so I didn't get a chance to actually continue with it, and it's only recently, like end of last year, that I bought a Windows computer and was able to work on RPG Maker games again. And then I decided to host a podcast instead, so this game is mine.
Yes, it is indeed.
That was a shock. It was a shock, and
Yeah, no, we were talking about it, Riggy and I, and we were like, we should just check. We should check out Benny's games and then see what's what, and really go into the mind of the host and see what's going on. And I don't know. I was like, I thought it was a genuinely neat little game. Nice demo, very tight.
Thank you. Was that correct? That duration 15 to 30 minutes, or did it take longer than that?
Oh man!
I mean, I didn't even beat it.
I'd love to say.
I just kept sitting.
Yeah, I'd love to say that I just spent 10 minutes on it, but I think I spent a good 45 to an hour.
Yeah, that's a developer estimate. It's always longer. It is when you're not doing the development.
Yeah, it's like take how much you can do it, times it by 2 or something. Yeah. I will give a little bit of insight. And the reason why I dropped this was because I had 2 to 3 more areas completed, which would have been maybe about half an hour to 45 minutes more. But I lost all that, so I kind of got I lost all the info, so I lost all the files. My wording, so it kind of just. My motivation to work on it just vanished into the ether. So, but it's good to hear those words again, and I've been thinking of picking up the good old tools again. The tools of the trade.
Yeah, man.
If you can make this once, you can make it again even better. And this if you say this was made, I can see that you added it on rm.net in 2014. And I take it you've still been tinkering with RM since. Like, I don't see why you couldn't have another crack. But
to be honest, like I added this 2015, 2016. I kind of I sort of dropped the engine and then did a little bits here and there, but didn't really seriously work on much until this year.
Fair.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much. I mean,
nice.
I'm like, I don't know what to say. I'm just like floored, and it's just so heartwarming to hear people talk about your game like that. Thank you so much.
No, hey, it's all good. Like, as I said, you talk to people a lot about their games, and I think it's worth people knowing, because I didn't know, and I've listened to a few RPG Maker Cola podcast shows, and I had no idea that the person hosting was actually had done stuff anyways that is on RMNet available to download and play. So yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. And yeah, I did have a second game. Like, I just wanted to shout out, because there's no game page, unfortunately, but like my friend Erin is making a game called All the King's Men. And and she's another RM developer and streamer. So on twitch.tv/thegreatperhaps, you can catch her RPG. It's just a really kind of a beautiful, classic looking RPG with like just wonderful mapping and great attention to detail. Like, she spent so much time crafting these maps, and really like a nice little custom battle system that she's using. And she's also got some like gorgeous like music playing as well. Like, the soundtrack is going to be such fire when she's got it all finished. I'm just really happy for how the game is going, and I love seeing the process. And yeah, if you have have a couple hours in an afternoon to catch her on stream building stuff, it's really a joy to hang there. So yeah, shout out to that game. I imagine there'll be a game page sometime this year. So yeah, keep a lookout for All the King's Men.
The great perhaps.
Yeah, I obviously can't comment on it, but I can just say anyone who like streams the creation of a game online, that's just like a curious phenomenon that I think is quite giving of yourself. I know Coda, you do, and also Riggy, you both do some like streaming of your game development online. I think that's actually quite an invaluable resource. I know some people do it. They just they say, oh, all I'm doing is putting a camera on, but literally you're putting like pressure on yourself to actually create and not get distracted and watch something else. So and it's also helping others when they watch you do your development. They're like, oh, maybe I should do my thing as well. Like it's like inspiration fuel. And I just wanted to thank you for that, both you and the great perhaps both of you as well for that.
Yeah, it can take a lot out of you. It's a big part of you to share your work and have people like potentially scrutinize, but to be honest, like I've had mostly like very positive feedback on streaming, and the people who join just want to hang and be inspired, and you can kind of riff off each other. It's been a wonderful platform for that.
Yeah, I tried to pull them up on Twitch, but I just came up with a 30-second Grand Theft Auto ad, so that's not conducive. So when that game page comes up, I'd be willing to promote that. That sounds awesome.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the Buzz Corner. Now it's time to go on to our next section, which is We've Been Playing Games. Maybe? Welcome to We've Been Playing Games Maybe. Hey you there. Have you been playing games? Whether you're in Twitch chat or listening at home? If not, that's all cool. But even if so, you can listen here as each of us talk about a game we've been currently playing or have played, and explain what we liked and disliked about it. I'm going to bring a game called The Beginner's Guide. So this is an interesting game. It's sort of like, one would say it's a narrative video game. It's a narrative video game about a collection of narrative video games. Created by Davey Reedon, the creator of the Stanley Parable. It's very sort of interesting. It centers around a developer called Coda. I'll let you know up front, it's very kind of linear, and it's like a visual novel kind of aspect to it. So there's not too much choice, except you're there like experiencing like one of the most meta stories like you could ever like kind of experience. It's about development, it's about the self, it's about insecurity, and it's about a whole bunch of other emotions and psychological phenomena that I think would even be spoilers to talk about, because they're this is a twisty-turny like 90-minute film. And also Coda is in this game. Codapill is in this game. No, the name of the developer that is being examined is Coda, and the developer talks to you.
You can make it up, honestly.
Another game by Codapill.
The developer kind of talks to you directly about this developer Coda, saying, here's Coda's games. This is why I think they made this developer decision. This is why I think they made this other developer decision. And then it kind of just escalates and escalates and then escalates until it comes to like a grand finale. And it's honestly one of my favorite games, like full stop. I think it's super experimental, really well done. I love The Beginner's Guide. It's really good.
It really threw me when I played it. Like I played it all in one sitting, I think. I mean, it's quite short, right? It's like an hour, maybe. I want to say it's like 1 to 2 hours. But yeah, it completely threw me. It was such a trip. I seem to remember that it ended in such a I don't want to give it away, but it just it's such a commentary on game development or just projects in general and the creative process, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Yeah, so that is The Beginner's Guide. Yeah. So, Riggy, what games have you been playing lately, maybe?
I've been playing a bunch. Right now, I'm actually playing Chrono Trigger again for the first time in forever.
Oh.
But one that I just finished that I really, really enjoyed was my good friend Justin and Jake from Vagabond Dogs game, Always Sometimes Monsters. I heard that they talked about my game and Maeve talked trash, so I'm just here to talk some trash back. Start some beef,
Do it.
Yeah.
Gloves off.
Just kidding.
Hopefully there's no like vagabond dog like personnel here. Like
I know. Hope nobody's listening. But in actuality, like I had actually picked up the second game, not realizing that like any continuation or anything between the two or anything like that. I just got it to try, and the game was overwhelmingly huge, and so I wasn't quite sure if I'd missed something before. So I finally got to start the first game and like see where it all came from and where it all started, and kind of like experience the game for myself after having heard about it for months, because to kind of give a backstory of like my relationship with Vagabond Dog, I started streaming so that I could be inspired to get more work done on my game.
Yeah.
And then I got a raid where he brought his audience to me. And I'm pretty sure that's Coda. I'm pretty sure that's how we met. That's how The Great Perhaps became a friend of mine. And like, I got really wrapped into that community, and like I learned a lot about streaming and all that stuff from Vagabond Dog. Like a lot of things that I can now put into practice for my own community. But when it came to playing the games, I hadn't really got to sit and do them. So I got to play Always Sometimes Monsters, and it is such a unique narrative for like an RPG Maker game. Like there's no combat, it's all just decisions and making choices, and every time I thought I was making the right choice in this game, like life sim style choices, I thought I was making the right decision and then was absolutely making the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Like multiple times.
Yeah.
But it was such a unique experience coming from years of like generic, not, well, I don't mean it disrespectfully, but like generic like Dungeons and Dragons like style RPGs. You have this whole game now where you're trying to find your long lost love and break up a whole wedding, and in the meantime you have to do chores and negotiate with people and figure things out to get you there.
Yeah.
Like it was so cool and super unique and super funny. It was really good.
Yeah. This is a game like about choices and morals and in a like a cutthroat sort of world. Did you find that the choices were hard to make, or was it kind of it's like that selling point where like your choices matter and stuff, and like people kind of tout it in games all the time, but like really does it ever truly matter? But I felt like I haven't played all the branches for Always Sometimes Monsters, but like I was just like wondering, like, did you feel that way? Like it actually responded to your choices and stuff?
Yeah, a lot of times I'd think I'm making the right decision, and then you'd see the outcome in it, and it could be completely different. And then a lot of times I just accepted the fact that it was the bad decision, but I'm like, this is the more convenient track.
Yeah.
If it all goes to plan. But then I've accidentally murdered somebody or ruined an election or something, and like you get to do all these cool things, and it's so passive sometimes that like at one point you're kind of faced with your choices and you're like reviewing the things that you've done, and once you know that is happening, or if you wonder if that's happening, it's so funny because there'd be like a room with just money laying around, and I'm like, oh my god, if I touch this, like, is somebody gonna come in and hurt me? Like, am I gonna get arrested? Like, you actually had a lot more stress added to these decisions because you realize that they really do have an impact. And I think they both did a really good job of bringing that concept to life in the RPG Maker medium and just as a game in general.
Yeah. They were just like, it felt like it had true consequence, like it was like there was a like. And I also kind of liked how it was not necessarily like right and wrong. It was like, do you want to hurt someone or have money? I mean, sorry, do you want to be good or have money? There's no like in between.
Yeah,
interesting.
That was I think, I mean, I'm still playing Always Sometimes Monsters. I'm probably halfway, but yeah, it feels like the game is constantly judging me and listening to me, and I love that rather than give me a straight game over or like take me down a deliberately terrible path, the narrative just alters. It's like I've just switched train tracks, and now I'm going on a different journey, and the story just it continues regardless of how I did. Like I'm a total screw up in my playthrough. I've made no good decisions whatsoever. But yeah,
it's really hard.
And I have to give a little shout out for that game in particular with the soundtrack. The soundtrack is gorgeous.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an episode with Justin and Makani, one of the co-creators of this game, and also Will O'Neill, the creator of Actual Sunlight and Little Red Lie and so on, writer of Superliminal. Their episode is bonkers. Like, it's just as crazy, it's just as amazing as you'd think their episode is. So if you're on Twitch, look out for that one, and if you're listening, I think it would already be recorded, so you can go and listen to that after this. Don't change, just listen to this one and then that one, change halfway through. Yeah, that's always Sometimes Monsters. This game is great. Yeah, Coda. When I said Coda, I just reminded of the beginner's guide. Codapill. Codapill, what games have you been playing, maybe?
Maybe. Well, yeah, I guess a couple months ago, I mean, I don't normally play a ton of multiplayer games, but like with the pandemic and everything, I've been kind of like attracted to some, getting involved in some big multiplayer games to kind of, hang with some people and stuff. And like, speaking of Justin, him and I and his wife and another friend of ours have been playing through Divinity 2, a huge campaign, sort of Dungeons and Dragons style game. And I don't normally play those kinds of games. It's like combat is like almost like strategy RPG style. Like, you have X number of moves within an area. If you're higher or if you're higher than your enemies, you're going to attack for more damage. If you're lower, you're going to do less. There's a lot of like figuring out what your next play would be. So there's plenty of strategy, and battles can last, almost an hour, which actually happened last night. But like that's one side of it. And, you can take that as it is in isolation. But what I kind of love about it is outside of combat, it's this sprawling world, and all four of you could effectively go in your own direction and talk to NPCs and be like, hey, I just picked up this quest, and come back to the middle and trade, if you're trying to upgrade your equipment and stuff like that. Like, it's very like elastic, you can all go off into different areas, but you'll ultimately want to come back to the middle and continue on that main branch. And you kind of each have your own goals and your own motivations and ideals, your own morals. And I don't know, it's such it feels like a living, breathing thing. It's not just this linear thing of four friends saving the world. It's you each have your own identity, but you just happen to be four people together, which is kind of like how D&D can be, like four travelers just coming together, and here's your backstory as to how you met. And it's just like, I don't know, I'm just like totally sucked into it. It's huge, it's overwhelming, but like, and the systems can be deep if you want them to be. But like, I picked it up fairly quick after a couple of sessions, and just a great game, honestly. I don't know if either of you have tried it or anything similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's like D&D the game, like almost. Like, there's a game coming
Really?
out that's just like more closer to D&D than this, but like it felt the most like D&D condensed into a game for me, including if your friends are slow at combat, then your combat will be slow. That's one of the biggest complaints I have about this game, is just if you don't play with the right people.
That's
I mean, I'm just gonna say, like, they might be listening, and I'm slow too. Okay, so this is me. I'm slow at combat as well. But like, if you're slow in this game, it's like turn-based combat, and you're waiting for everyone else as well. And sometimes it can be fun, and sometimes it can be a slog.
No, absolutely. Like, sometimes I get a little bit anxious if it's my go, and I haven't preempted what I'm going to do. So I will literally just be like, it will be on my go, and I'm like, what do you reckon I should do, Justin? It's like, I don't know what to do. And he's kind of usually got a whole plan, because they all three of them have been through the campaign before. This is my first time, and they've been really good about not spoiling anything. And but you're right, Benny, it is pretty much D&D the game. It's like when you speak to NPCs, if somebody's talking to someone, the three of you can listen in on that conversation and watch that player make their decisions. Or on occasion, maybe all four of you will be talking to one NPC, and you can all decide how you want to respond, and then decide as a group if you want to be somewhat like chaotic or good, neutral, whatever it might be. So yeah, I don't know. It's like D&D with, you know, graphics and glitz.
Yeah,
Nice.
there's so much you can do. Like, that's the other part of D&D. You can like sneak up and steal, or you can you can steal you know what's not yours, so you kind of steal. There's some like funny bugs that can happen, or like weirdnesses that you can like exploit.
Yes.
Like, if you're just outside a battle, you can like use a bedroll and just like heal up.
Oh, yeah.
It's or like if you're like, yeah, there's just like some weirdnesses, but it's funny to exploit those weirdnesses as well.
It is, and to sort of tread carefully around and try to like gently avoid. Like, you can come up with very creative ways too, and that's where the D&D aspect comes in, you know.
Yeah.
Like for a game has to have like limitations and boundaries, so it can only go so far. But this one does a really good job of like giving you the tools to consider, like, oh, I wonder if I can do this weird thing. Oh, I can. And suddenly you feel like you've gamed it some way. And that's a really powerful thing to have in a game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's Divinity 2. Nice. Okay.
Nice.
So those were nice. Those were the games we've been playing. Maybe. Well, we have been playing them. That's the spoiler.
No lies.
Yeah, so those are the games, and now I must go to our next section, which is the topics we must discuss, because this is a podcast, and it's serious. Welcome to the topics we must discuss, because this is a podcast, and it's serious. Here's the part of the podcast where we ask the serious questions. Sorry, I got to fix the echo. So, our first question is about Origins. I'd like to ask both of you, how did you come about making games? And if it was RPG Maker, how did you discover RPG Maker? What's your story? We'll start with codapill.
Man, I remember, I think I started on RPG Maker. I remember playing around with XP back in like 2005 or something. But like, I just kind of, I don't know, it kind of passed me by, and then other things happened in life, and then I moved on. And then fast forward all the way into 2019, where I just happened to see a massive Humble Bundle sale where they had every single RPG Maker version for sale. And so I grabbed it, started playing around with MV, and I noticed that MV was using JavaScript. And my day job is a front-end developer, so we use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and that's pretty much how MV games work. So it was kind of a nice connection for me to truly understand how that engine ticks. And I kind of played around, watched some tutorials at the end of that year, and started development of my current game that I'm building, Lightweight Lines, and then took a short break. And then once the pandemic happened, I kind of just went all in on it and didn't stop. And that's been me ever since, just constantly making games and developing.
Yeah. So you started with XP, but then kind of skipped over to MV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now you're still creating an MV. Did you make the move to MZ, or is that not quite yet?
No. Well, so I started all my projects I started were before MZ was released, apart from Fragments, I think.
Okay.
And then I think maybe MZ was just very new at the time, and it was sort of some issue with like plugin functionality, and you know, any software that's just newly released is probably going to have some bugs. So I didn't want to start anything epic with it. You know what I mean? MV felt very tried and tested, and sort of taking inspiration from other people that have made other big games or and interesting games in MV, sort of like piggybacking off that and not going into the unknown with MZ. Like every tutorial I'd find would focus on MV, and MZ was a bit of an afterthought. I'm sure that's changing now in the landscape, but Yeah, I've been really happy with the MV engine, so I've kind of stuck with it for now. Maybe I would switch over, but it feels a bit like MV 1.5. I'm sure there are many things that are better, but for now, if it's still using the JavaScript and everything, then I'll stick with MV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's quite a like. It feels probably similar on the user end, but like I think it will have a little bit of like quality of life improvements for developers themselves. I think that's what it feels like to me. Like,
yeah,
an MZ game won't look exceptionally different to an MV game, but I think a person using MZ might have a better time.
Yeah, definitely. If you're new and stuff, I feel like MZ is probably a nice place. And I guess maybe it matters if you're looking to make a game for mobile. Apparently, MZ looks like it's pretty on it for that with its special little hamburger menu that you get when you test a game.
True.
It looks mobile-y, but fair enough.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
nice. How about yourself, Ricky?
Well, so I started using RPG Maker when I was about 10 or 11, or maybe somewhere around there. But basically, 2003, RPG Maker 2003 had just been translated by RPG Advocate. So this was like, if it's 2003, it probably came 2003 or 4, somewhere around there. And I don't remember exactly how I stumbled upon it, but I got entranced into the community and message boards and everything of people making games, and it just opened my mind to the fact that it was actually super easy. So then for the past forever years, 20 years, I've just always tried to make things and never really got that far, or I got far and then my computer crashed, and completely lost it, or something like that. And I'd done that pretty much all through my youth, and then it wasn't until they re-released RPG Maker 2003 legally for the first time. I guess it was 2015 or something.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, that they released the 2003 version on Steam, where it was in English, and they had made all of these quality of life improvements and pretty much like kept the engine fresh and current. And I got back into it really hard, and I started grabbing old games and just dissecting them and seeing how they worked and all these things that I didn't understand. And that was pretty much it. I never really used anything past 2003 until very, very, very recently.
Yeah. I mean, you're still even using it now with Yeezy RPG, correct?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. My goal is to kind of put everything I learned into the game I'm making now. But now it's nice because with Twitch, I have a lot more accountability to my work and my projects. And like I said before, it was like I started streaming so that I could meet other people, but I didn't anticipate
how much they'd be like hunting you down saying, when's Yeezy coming out? When's this coming out? You're like, it'll come out, honestly, it'll be there,
It's like, oh no, I actually have to finish something now.
Yeah.
Yeah, your viewers are like little micromanaging bosses.
Thank goodness.
Checking up on you.
Just need someone to kick my ass,
Basically.
So that's how both of them came about making games. But how about when it comes to your favorite kinds of games? I'm imagining when you were young, or when you started playing games, what were the kinds of games, or even other media like films and stuff, that inspired you to create stuff?
Cody, you wanna take this one first?
Yeah. Well, actually, I remember as a kid, I was really into Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone choose your own adventure books. I was obsessed with them. I would take them out from the library all the time, and you could only take a maximum of 8 books from the library, and I would just take 8 and then return 8 and get another 8 because there was 100 in the series. And
Wow.
I was really, really addicted to these fantasy books where I would be able to dictate, or I felt like I could dictate and move a story the way I wanted it to. And then you could write out on a separate piece of paper like a character sheet almost, with hit points and armor and weapons and stuff like that. It was kind of like an RPG in a book. I didn't have any consoles or anything, but I was like, man, this is so cool. And then one of them, most of them were very epic fantasy based, but the one that really stuck out to me was called Starship Traveler, and it was the only sci-fi one they had. And I loved the idea of this, like, there's you as the captain and a crew, and you're exploring the galaxy, and who knows what's going to happen, and do you want to explore this planet, or do you want to help these people in distress? Like, can you trust them? It was just like magical to me, like this kind of space opera style. So that leads on to the fact that I really liked like Star Trek and stuff growing up, and then later on with video games, like Mass Effect 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. For all of its branching narratives, but like how huge that world feels and the rules that it sets and the world building in general, I just adored it. And that's honestly what heavily influences what I make now with Recruit One and Lightweight Lines. It's very much this like sci-fi aspect to it. And then I guess the biggest influence at the moment for me, because I always played JRPGs growing up mainly, but
can't relate.
More recently, I never used to play horror, but like more recently, I've been delving into some of the horror genre. And a couple of years ago, I played Dead Space, and that also has become one of my favorite games of all time. And it's a heavy influencer on Lightweight Lines. This idea of being alone in space and unequipped or ill-equipped, and like and to just be questioning what on earth is going on. And there's nothing more frightening to me than being alone in a completely remote, like literally out of this world. Like how horrible that would feel. Especially if you didn't have the tools to get back or communicate with anyone. That must be awful. And this is, it's kind of what Lightweight Lines is looking to get, like, be inspired from, so to speak. So that's kind of like my journey, I guess, through media and what has influenced me and why I create what I create.
Yeah, I mean, it's really like the confluence of like space and horror is pretty like interesting. Because like, I can't remember which one it was where they say something like no one hears you when you cry in space or something. What piece of media is that?
It's a Alien. Nobody can hear you when you scream in space or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's one of the
so
most
powerful.
Yeah, it's a powerful feeling to really feel, because like it's just nothing, and you'll get sucked in and get destroyed by space. One of the most horrifying things in the world. So why not make it a horror kind of concept? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Riggy, what inspires you?
Right. It's so funny. Like I've always clung to like Super Nintendo era RPGs. They've always been my favorite. They'll always be my favorite. Like playing Chrono Trigger right now is super, like, it's like something I do every, couple of years, like every 2-3 years. I have to play through it. I have to play through Mario RPG. I have to play through Earthbound and like get that feel. But dude, I love these Earthbound like games, or like we were talking about before, like the Yume Nikki types or whatever. It's just like they take this cool like approach. They embrace all of the RPG Maker horror tropes and the Earthbound like tropes, and it's so, it used to be like a little bit more niche than I think it is now, but now there's so many like bigger games that do this. And those are always the ones that attract me. It was like as soon as I saw Omori, it was a no-brainer. When I played Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass, no-brainer. When I played what was the one you were just playing one on your stream? Oh, Weird and Unfortunate Things Are Happening.
Yeah.
Like absolutely love that stuff. And with my game now, it's like I'm trying to create sort of a send up to things that I love. And so in Yeezy RPG, like I pay so much homage to not only all the Super Nintendo RPGs that I love, but also now so many different RPG Maker games that are super unusual, and they're a little bit off of the norm. You know?
And you're also inspired by Kanye West as well.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. I'm a big hip hop fan. I do music as well. And so a lot of ideas and stuff kind of stem off of that. Like with the game itself, it's like a lot of the resources and things in the game I've borrowed presently, but like the music is what I want to be 100% me, no matter what, you know?
Yeah.
And there's even like Coda and I have been playing with an idea that Coda has been working on in Game Maker that uses music as kind of I don't even know, you advance the level using music, you know, and like it's cool to be able to try those kinds of ideas or see them take shape. And as soon as he told me about the project he was working on, I was like, I've got tons of stuff, I'm ready to go. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so those are the inspirations. Yeah, so that has been like the sort of serious topics that we've kind of dived into. And now we are going to go into our next section, which is the question box. So, yeah, we are broadcasting this live, but I do want to still give the opportunity to our guests. This is usually the time, this is a peek behind the curtain for those who are kind of like listening to the podcast, because this is usually the time when I ask my guests, how are you doing? How's it going? Do you need like a bathroom break or anything, or are you okay? This is the point. Like, this is the thing. So, does anyone need to get water, or are they feeling okay?
Well, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm okay.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. See, audience, I take care of my guests. You know, I make sure that they're, you know, not absolutely busting, and, you know, I'm not locking them up, you know, to like be up against their will, you know. I treat them
10 out of 10
well.
host.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, rate me on Steam.
You got it.
Yeah. Welcome to the question box. This is the segment where RPG Maker community users ask questions related to game development and design that we probably don't know the answers to, but we'll try. And it's funny that because we have streamers on board this episode, we also have this is being broadcast live via Twitch. For those who are listening to the podcast, the audio version, it's not actually right now, like the time when you're listening to this, when it was being streamed. You missed out. But yeah, we will be streaming Codapill and riggy2k3's games, fragments, and Yeezy. Oh wait, I'm not sure if I will have Easy RPG by then, but
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, by the time that this episode comes out, the recorded version, we'll be seeing if I can play a Riggy game as well on the Friday. I play games every Friday on the RPG Maker Cola Twitch stream. But anyways, yeah, and also, since we're streaming live via Twitch, I encourage people in the Twitch chat, we've already got one question, to ask questions, and as you ask questions, we will be answering them. I'll be keeping an eye out as we chat. So feel free to ask some questions. Our first question comes from Twitch, actually, from Phyrus, the Sith Juggernaut, who asks, will Yeezy RPG finally answer who exactly were the people in Paris?
So if you're unfamiliar, Kim Kardashian, former ex-wife of Kanye West? I'm not really sure.
Depends on when this is released.
Kim Kardashian was robbed at gunpoint while in Paris, and nobody kind of figured out what happened, but like $1 million worth of jewelry was taken. And it's still a mystery who did it and what happened. And to answer that question, no, I will not be answering that question.
It's kind of like those films that try and answer the question of like who killed John Lennon, sort of thing. Like it's a taboo subject, you know. You don't need to dive right into it. Yeah,
you can't give false information. You know?
Right.
And when you try to like fictionalize it, it's like, is that in good taste? You know what?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So our next question comes from Isopodomancer from the RPG Maker Cola Discord, who asks, for both, does RPG Maker feel like a comfortable program to use, or do you wish to jump to Game Maker or Unity or something else sometime sooner or later? Who'd like to answer that?
I'll go. But yeah, I think it's definitely a comfortable program to use. It's a really awesome stepping stone because you can create something in such a short amount of time. And I like that you focus more on assets and not systems when it comes to building something. You're not stuck like just trying to make something move for 3 hours if you're just getting used to something. So I feel like you have that instant feedback and you don't lose hope or faith, and you can carry on and push through. And I think that's important. You want to see results. So I think RM is just comfortable and wonderful for that. I have, as Riggy pointed out earlier, I have started diving into a little bit of Game Maker, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying what I've used of it, and I definitely want to carry on. It's the only way I'll be able to do this kind of music-based platformer. I mean, I'm sure it's possible in RM, but not without a lot of headaches and upset.
RPG Maker doesn't necessarily have that kind of timing-based stuff down pat for some reason. I think it's the refresh rate and all that. Like the draw. I've heard something about the canvas drawing method or something. I'm not a programmer. I don't know what I am, but I don't know anything about this particular thing.
No, you're right. You're right. When you're moving between maps in MV, it's reloading everything, and it's like it's all, the timings all can get funky. So I think there are probably better tools for this one, and I think, but I don't really see it as like I think I don't want to misspeak and say that I'm like moving on, like, because I think RM projects are just as valid as any other, and I think it's about the game that you make and not the engine. So I think that's a very important distinction to make. Yeah. So I would use them both in tandem, to be honest. Like, I'm sure there are projects that are way more that would be much better suited for RM, and there are some that would be better suited for Game Maker.
Yeah, and then some people try and just make one in either one. Like they try and break RPG Maker and break the limitations. I've seen people do that, and they do really well. I'm just like, you are a genius, and I don't know how you did that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Riggy, anything on that, or yeah?
Yeah, I mean, like I basically agree with everything Coda said. Like, RPG Makers is super, like I did 2 game jams back to back, and I took the same concept for each, but for one I used RPG Maker VX Ace, which I'm relatively new to, and then I did the same exact game, like trying to make the concepts in Game Maker and learning that from scratch, and it's a world of difference how much like game is in each one from after like one weekend of work or dedication to work for each of them. And I think it goes to show the well, first of all, I guess my own knowledge of RPG Maker comes into play, but like with RPG Maker, like Coda said, you can focus on the way it looks and the way it feels, because you don't have to work on the systems. Where when I was in Game Maker, I was celebrating the fact that I got my character to hit a wall and not go through the wall. You know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
The scale of achievement is different. Like,
yeah, absolutely. But I don't really see myself doing, like, the way that I know RPG Maker was years and years and years of hobbyism.
Yeah.
Whereas like trying to teach myself Game Maker, I don't know if I can find the time to really dedicate to reach a level that I'd put something out. But I definitely admire the challenge and everything. Just probably, not in my cards right now.
Yeah. Flexiboot asks from Twitch, have you seen any unusual projects or formats used within RPG Maker, like outside the cliche JRPG or narrative-driven stuff?
Whoa.
Yes, for me.
Yeah. What have you seen?
Yeah.
Unusual. There was like a full-on there's like side scrollers made in like jumping side scrollers made in RPG Maker somehow. I don't know how they do it. And then there's also like shoot 'em ups and stuff.
Yeah,
I've seen a couple, not a lot, but like I've seen some.
with RPG Maker 2003, I used to always see people do that, but the side scrollers never really worked that well. One thing that I did really like, this is a narrative, but it was an action like RPG like shooter horror game, and it was Pokemon focused. It was called Pokemon Nightmare Invasion, I think. Mm-hmm. And that one was so cool because it put this like cool, well, the atmosphere and everything was so unique and cool, but it was just like such an unusual approach to like RPG Maker horror for me. But then back in the day, then I mean, people were trying to push the engine in so many ways that like I'd watched somebody had made like a pretty janky version of Tetris in it. There was a I think it was called Monopolo, was this like crazy Monopoly remake in RPG Maker, either 2000 or 2003.
Wow.
It's funny, if you know anything about Monopolo and like Gaming W, it's almost like it was like a meme of the 2000s. Like everyone was like dunking on it for some reason. Back when it was released, I think a lot of people dunked on it because they're like, why would you just make Monopoly an RPG Maker? That's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. And then they really like dunked on, his name's Edit now, but I think they used to be called Silver Donuts. But he also used to have a really like really exaggerated personality, which kind of like attracted a lot of hate. Anyway, that's the funny thing about Monopolo. Like those, I think it's those sort of personalities sometimes as well who are really extravagant and kind of just want to do something just because, like, it's a little trolly. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was quite funny.
A bunch of games back then were like that though. Like there was one that was I think you played as a chocobo and you had to like, it was just like a Pac-Man kind of maze game, which was really neat. What else? I've seen really bad attempts at everything. I mean, with 2000 and 2003, I mean, everybody tried to make everything they could in it. So I've seen them. It's just like when it comes to thinking of like flesh out like good ones, it kind of cuts down a little bit more.
Yeah.
When it comes to like action made in 2K3, there's Shadow Seeker, which I think does like the zombie.
Yeah, I did see this. This looks phenomenal.
I think it's just because it's well thought out and awesome, like really, really well thought out kind of mechanics and stuff.
I have seen that before. No, I think the only thing I remember, I mean, I have no name for it, but like sometimes when you browse RPG Maker on Twitch, you can catch like Japanese and like Chinese developers making really wild things. The last thing I caught, I know I brought up with you guys before, was like I can only describe it as Hotline Miami, like lots of quick action and gore and lots of animation, floating damage numbers, health bars. Like really, it was really something to see. And on top of that, it was in RPG Maker 2000. And all I remember seeing, because I can't understand anything that's going on, but I just see at the top of the map, I want to say like 20 parallel events that all had lots of wild eventing, and it was all like, and I was like, oh man, this is so interesting. And I would be going on Google and I trying to translate and talk to the guy just to get some idea, like, okay, do you have a game page or something, some way I can find more about what you're doing, because I'm fascinated.
Not to keep bringing up our boys at Vagabond Dog, but homie just did Nothing Without You. It was like a interactable like pet, like it was like a what are they called, like a
Tamagotchi
pet simulator, like a Tamagotchi, but he made it in RPG Maker for the band Cloud Nothings. And it's fantastic. It's such a cool little thing. You can pick it up and play it for a couple minutes, and that's such a cool concept too, and it was cool to watch. He just a heavy focus on like pictures and that sort of thing with it, and I think it just took one map. It's really cool.
Yeah, that counts. Like there's two like major like music acts that I think have used RPG Maker that I've seen of like in their music videos. I think this is one of them, Cloud Nothing's Nothing Without You. And then there was also a small bit in like an 100 Gex remix that was like, that used RPG Maker like in one of their little videos.
Oh wow.
I'm a big fan of
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's lots of weird kind of uses of RPG Maker. But like, is it worth it? No, it is. It is. Like, especially if you know like RPG Maker back to front, sometimes it's easier just to make like the worst, most monstrosities of code and just because it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It can be a weird like labor of love, like you just love getting into it and bending it and doing something that could be fairly trivial in another engine, but it's like, it's just impressive, you for the love of programming or for the love of just going beyond and hacking a system. I get it. It's intoxicating, you know?
Yeah. Isopodomancer from the RPG Maker Cola Discord asks, for riggy2k3, how did you come up with such a plot? Why Kane, LMAO? I think they mean
Why Kane?
Why Kane?
Yeah, why Kane? Riggy? Why?
I'm wondering, just a bad typo. To be honest with you, it started as a joke game, and it was like the opening sequence is you meet Taylor Swift or whatever, and the whole idea was just to kind of build like a goofy little battle system around it. But as I started playing with things and getting graphics back from artists and that sort of thing, it just kind of started to develop into its own thing.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting question, just because the plot is kind of, I'm using as much lore from the man, the musician, the controversial dude himself, but I can import it into this like goofy little RPG Maker world that kind of can take the concepts that around him as a cartoon character of a human, and build like a game around it. So
if there's any like rapper who is a cartoon, it might be Kanye.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. The RPG Maker Addict from the RPGmaker.net Discord asks, I wonder why Recruit 1 disappeared from RMK or RPGmaker.net. I'm not sure. I wanted to review that to become the top reviewer. I mean, try that one. For context, the RPG Maker Addict has reviewed maybe like 200 to 300 games. I might be exaggerating, but it feels like that much on RPGmaker.net. They are the number one reviewer on RPGmaker.net. Like if we look at the like most recent reviews on the site, they take up like the first page almost. Like,
that's nice.
That's pretty cool. That's an interesting one. Yeah. Well, a little bit of like context around Recruit 1. It's actually quite a special game for me because it's very short and small, but it was the first creative thing I'd ever actually built, finished, and put out there with my name on it and told people about it. It was the first time I'd ever really done that in my life. And so it was a very important stepping stone for me to do other things. And I kind of again, I'm going to shout out Vagabond Dog, but we have to fill our quota. We just have to because for real, both Recruit 1 and Fragments are products of Vagabond Dog game jams, and being able to just have that time pressure to really push something out and tell everyone about it and have it done has been really eye-opening and has helped my other project become even better. So I put it on RPGmaker.net and Steam and itch and stuff right at the beginning. And then I found out oh man, every time I update this game, I have to update it in 3 places. And everyone was playing it on Steam. It had nobody was playing it on itch. And I don't think anyone was really playing it on rm.net, which is, it's fair enough. It's just, I think I just only wanted to maintain it in one area until I was like, all right, I'm done updating it. But I actually, the last time I updated it was like a week ago. So I still tweak little things. It just because I just can't help it. A little bit of a perfectionist with stuff, but the core game is still the same. But it's had a few little tweaks and little additions which have been nice. But hey, maybe I'll put it up there now that it's pretty much ready.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. I'm pretty curious. What were the numbers like? And say, is it like a ratio between Steam, RMN, and itch when you put it on all 3 platforms?
So because it's a free game on Steam, it's really interesting. As soon as you put, I don't know the science behind Steam. It's wild. But just from my experience, it seems like if you were to even put a 1 cent price tag, you've immediately put a barrier in front of the customer or the player, right? Even if it's just the smallest price, it's something that's gonna enforce a decision for somebody. But by putting it free and getting people to try my game and then potentially maybe wish list future games. That's kind of what Recruit One became, was almost like an advert for me, I guess. And numbers wise, it was like 2,000 to 3,000 people downloaded and played Recruit One, and then on itch it was like 10, and I think on rm.net it was like 5. Maybe.
Really?
So yeah.
Well, I think that was after you closed it down on the other ones, right? Or was it before? Is that after you closed down your itch and RMN pages, or was it before that?
I kept the I kept the itch one open, but I think I'd already had a good like 900 to 1,000 people play it on Steam whilst it was still on rm.net, and I felt bad. I didn't want people downloading it on rm.net and having like a buggier version or missing things. Like I just got anxiety about that. Like, or even if it was something like the artwork was different, it just killed me. So I was like, you know what, let's just remove that for now and focus on Steam. And the thing is, like, I wish I had more to do with the rm.net community and stuff. I don't go back far enough. I can tell it has a really dedicated base of people that kind of grew up with RPG Maker. And I'd love to be part of that in some way. So I want to try and see if I can get my projects back up there again and see how it goes.
We'll think about it.
Yeah.
We'll call you. No. I'm really excited to, like, you know, be part of the promotional scale for these games, to really promote these games, because I'm just like, I see games that I think deserve more attention, and then I'm like, okay, let's put them on the podcast, because we need more, you know. So I mean, that's stark difference from like between Steam, RMN, and itch.io. Like, that's a stark. Maybe it just blew up on Steam or one reason or other, but I think it's more like evidence to like have people put it on different platforms and see what happens, because you never know. It might blow up on one platform and stay dormant on the other. And if you had only put it on RMN and itch, you would have got like 15 downloads. Like,
right. And you know, I think that there's other things to factor, like you know, quote unquote, everybody is on Steam. You're hitting an incredibly large audience. Now, obviously, that means that it's diluted in terms of there's a lot of games on there. But I don't know, like, everyone has the client. It's quick, it's easy. It's all about making it convenient for someone. If they have to download a RAR file and unzip it somewhere, I know it's nothing, but like, you have to always think about these tiny steps. That's not to say, because I know people have had amazing like success of having loads of games on rm.net. It's just it's weirdly for this one, it's been all about Steam.
Yeah, I've had the creator of Grimm's Hollow, Ghost Hunter, on the podcast early on, and this game has like tons of like what's it called, success on Steam and RPGmaker.net. But it's just interesting to kind of examine where that all comes from. So you can get kind of lost in the sea, but there's not to say that it's not possible to actually like cut through and have a hit with a free game. I think this is one of the most popular free games on Steam as an RPG Maker game. So I'd say go ahead and try it out. You know. Who knows what?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't know enough about rm.net when I first put the game up. Like, I felt a little bit like, oh, I'm putting this game up here, but is everybody here like really like hardcore just into JRPGs? Like, it just, because everything that was featured on the homepage was like fan games for Final Fantasy VIII and Earthbound, you know, like, and I was like, cool, these games are amazing, and I totally understand why they're getting so much hype, because they're so cool looking, and there's a lot of 2K3 stuff on there, which is just legit. So I kind of felt a little bit like I was like nervous about putting my game up on rm.net.
There's a bit of that bias on RPGmaker.net. I must admit, we've gotten more like wide ranging in the way that we represent different genres, but for a while it was a site grown upon nostalgia. Like, we kind of touched upon it earlier, but I was sort of it came from a place of, we're making things based on our nostalgic dreams.
Exactly.
And then I guess Steam is more of the place where it's commercialized, and you're like, okay, here's the product for you rather than for me. Like, that's what I see when people put it up on Steam. I mean, it's a generalization, because there's like passion projects on Steam and stuff, but most projects on Steam have to be somewhat, are intended probably to be somewhat sellable. And RPGmaker.net is not that. They're just like, I'm going to make a game for me, and if you want to enjoy it, you can. But if you don't, then that's on you.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it.
A question for riggy2k3 from the RPG Maker Addict as well. You mentioned that Yeezy is inspired by your favorite games, but which of these influences in games that inspired your work? I think you kind of touched on this a little earlier, but they guessed Barkley, Shut Up and Jam, Gaiden.
Yeah.
Did you get influenced by that game?
Yeah, when it comes to RPG Maker like community games that influenced me, it was definitely Barkley, Shut Up and Jam. It was Palm's Quest for Wi-Fi. Yeah, the Palm's Quest for Wi-Fi. What else from that? Beautiful Escape Dungeoneer is one of my all-time favorite RPG Maker games. One of my favorite horror like atmosphere type games, like probably in my top 10 of all time. Pretty much that's the case with most of the things that Colunio made. Definitely a big influence on me. And then there's a game that I'm constantly hunting for, called Everlasting Journey, if you're familiar, but that was an RPG Maker 2003 project that demos have existed of it, and I remember playing it, but I can't find a demo anywhere, and then I look on the game page and like it's not there, and so I'm on a quest for that one, but that one was a huge influence. And pretty much just that early 2000s era of RPG Maker stuff, like a lot of those big projects I'm still revisiting today, and like Legion Saga 1 through 3 were all amazing games. I was playing a little bit of The Longing Ribbon, which was another one, but like there's so many good RPG Maker classics that like have not only influenced me, but like, you know, like I've straight up borrowed things from some of those games, you know, and like I'm like, okay, well, how can I work?
No one will know.
How can I take this graphic that they took from, you know, Tales of Fantasia and just turn it around a little bit, make it look like mine, but it's also kind of theirs because they did the editing. But you know, like we'll figure out that bridge when we get there. So the influences are you know, a lot,
wide and varied. The creator of Everlasting Journey is, depending on whether you're listening to, if you're listening to the recorded version, it's already been released. There's an episode with Pepsi Otaku, Cherry, and Inaluki, ready to consume. So, again, after this one, wait until this one's finished, and then go and look at that one. But yeah, the creator of Everlasting Journey talks about Everlasting Journey on that podcast. Exciting. And how they're creating it in a different engine now. So, nice. Yeah, it's really funny how a lot of these people who have created these like influential games have just gone, okay, now time to remake the whole thing in Unity.
Yeah.
Oh man, yes.
So yeah, there's that. And I was just going to say that Colunio is someone I keep in like constant contact with. Yep. He is a good contender for like my favorite developer, RPG Maker developer. His stories are just out of this world. Yeah. And I am actually going to try and edit a hour-long video essay on Therapist Mind Manager, their latest game. Yeah. This is a plug for that. So it's actually going to be hopefully released at the very end after one of these episodes. So yeah,
it's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, big hype. Nightly from the Feathered Dead Discord asks, for a sec I thought that was the Kanye West cult game. Wait, that's not a question. That's just that's a comment.
Yeah,
we have to mention
Kanye
it though.
Quest 3030. I think.
Yeah, we have to mention it. Kanye Quest 3030. You were aware of this when you were creating Yeezy.
Yeah,
RPG.
Yeah. I didn't really think much of it in terms of competition or confusion or anything until I put my trailer out and I started throwing it out there. Because I've played that one and I've seen like there's a video by Video Game Donkey on YouTube, and he's like one of the biggest, you know, gaming YouTube channels, and that game kind of blew up because of that, but then also because of all the weird cult stuff that they hid in it. and I didn't think of that like this was just a whole just a project for fun starting out, so I didn't think of like competition or anything like that with it, but now I've actually been eating up like people making that distinction or or referencing that one, and like I kind of want to play with that a little bit with the development of my game, because it's like this is lore that could be contingent with my own game as well, rather than like being like, oh, these are two separate games. It's like, okay, well, maybe there's an Ascension quest in my game too. I don't know. You'll have to play it and find out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, actually, that's interesting. Is it, you're talking about like not only just like Easter egg or reference, but like possibly within the same universe type thing.
I could, you know,
the Kanye universe.
Can't tell you.
Can't tell. It's all secret. It's a secret, like the secret ending to Kanye Quest 3030. What I will say is that, I mean, from a purely superficial point of view, this game did use RTP to a great degree, and I would say, even though it has the mimetic quality and the sort of references and the comedy is inherent, I think that the mapping could be improved, and the general visual presentation was kind of indicative of like one of their like first games, or like it could be better, is what I'm saying. There's a lot that's default. There's a lot that just looks very RPG Maker-y, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to Yeezy RPG is because, in my opinion, it just looks like an upgrade. I'm not trying to put it down, but it looks visually a lot more pleasing to the eye, in my opinion, and sort of it feels like it's also like a different tone, taken a bit more seriously. But we might get into that a little later. What the goals of Yeezy RPG are and stuff like that in the deep dive. So it is a cult game. That's the answer. No, it's not. Who knows? We don't know yet. Totally. As I said that there were cultists on the screen, but Dari or S City Dreamer from Twitter asks, and this is a little bit of a loaded question, but here we go. At Rigsbase, do you think your RPG is going to be stuck in the shadow of the other Kanye RPG that ended up being a cult thing?
Whoa, okay. So probably, maybe. I hope that Donkey makes a video on my game as well, you know? Get a couple of million views on it. But I don't know, man. If it is, it's not a big deal. It's not like this is something that is, you know, like competing or whatever with that one isn't really the goal. It's just to make a really fun narrative that pays tribute to the things that I enjoy, you know? And if people enjoy it as well, or they enjoy the things, like they'll get a lot of appreciation out of it. So if it is, that sucks, but cool. And if not, like, also cool. I you know, either which way it goes, it won't, you know, tear me up or anything, you know?
Yeah. Someone in chat is telling me to close all my tabs on Chrome. I always have like 50 to 100 tabs all the time. You don't know. I have bought new computers. I've got the supercomputer of my dreams because I have too many tabs on all the time. So it can handle it. It can handle it. Don't worry.
And then
you worry about that.
You play games built on a 17-year-old plus hardware or development engine, you know?
Yeah. I play RPG Maker games, like 2K3 games on something that was built to like make games in Unreal or something. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I built a $2,000 computer, and the first thing I did was download Legion Saga 2, which I could also run on my Windows, you know, XP computer at the time. I'm like, wow, this computer's amazing. It runs so well.
Yeah, the first thing I did was download Among Us, which is like pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. So those are the questions in the question box. Thank you for asking, community users. We appreciate you greatly most of the time. Now we're going to go into our next section, which is the deep dive. So in this section, we deep dive into each of our guest projects, or rather the grammatically correct way would be to say we dive deep into one of our guest projects and figure out what went on during the process, inspirations, and elsewise. I'm going to start with Fragments by Codapill. So yeah, Fragments is a game by Codapill, a 2D psychological twisted piece of interactive fiction set in the very near future. You play as Evan, a young guy wrestling with his own mind as to whether he did or did not do a serious crime. Should he fail to get to the bottom of the truth via reconstructions of some of his most traumatizing memories, he risks spending the rest of his life behind bars. Two detectives stand in his way, and both claim it is in Evan's best interest to deliver them the information they need. Make decisions, affect outcomes, inhabit Evan's mind, and shape his conclusion at the facility. Now, this game looks really interesting. I like the vibe of it. I haven't personally played it yet, but I'm going to play it on stream. I really, really am interested in the unique concept of this game. It feels like your games, from what I've looked from the screenshots and videos and like descriptions, are quite conceptual. Do you sort of like start from the concept first of like, say, story or gameplay and then move from there? How did Fragments, like, I suppose, come to light?
Yeah, it's a funny one. I remember we were doing. It helps when you're doing a game jam when there's a theme and you're sort of like, you can put yourself in a box and try and think what you can create from that. And the theme for the jam that Fragments was built in was called A Year. So it was like, how can you best describe and create something that matches a year? So could it be a game that takes a year to complete? Could it be a game that's over a 12-month period, or some like, did you have a good year or a bad year? How can you reflect those emotions or something? I don't know. It can be however you want to interpret it. And my first idea was I was going to have a game about a guy in a room in December of a year, and it's empty, and you would basically the narrator would be kind of trying to determine what had happened in each month of that year. And so you would kind of go into a flashback to like January or February, make decisions, kind of interactive narrative style, walk around. And then based on those decisions, when you went back to the first room, something in the room had changed. Like maybe you had a book on the shelf, or you had a trophy in the cabinet, or the bed was different, like whatever, some kind of change in the room. And you would go through each month, and then when you get to the present day, that's how your year went. And I was going to have like just different concepts as to how you got there. Like maybe you spend, it was actually kind of bleak. I thought about it being set during Christmas, and based on the decisions you made in those first 11 months, you either spent Christmas on your own or with somebody else. It was really dark. And
now that's a game that I would actually like to see made as well.
Yeah, I was really digging it, and I was like, oh man, again, like any game maker knows, like your scope just gets out of whack. And I was like, this is pretty big. I can't do this in 3 days or whatnot. So I was like, okay, what about if I do that again, but with seasons, and we'll just do 4 flashbacks, and which is kind of what Fragments is. It's like it's spread over a year, but it just focuses on the 4 seasons and different things that have changed, or as the description pointed out, the traumatic events of his life. And that's just because when traumatizing things happen in our lives, like those unfortunately like stick in our minds, and we can remember them pretty well. And so these detectives have a way of tapping into those memories and bringing them to light so that he can help them with an investigation. And so I kind of stuck with that. And it's the same thing where in that first room in Fragments, there is like a shelf at the back, and that changes every level. Now it's still pretty linear, but like the room there's gradually populating with things that remind him of how his year had gone, and how he got to the situation that he's found himself stuck in. And so I kind of just, I don't know, I had this grand idea, and as usual, cut it in half and then half again, and then ran with that. and that's the way I find it's easier to work, I think. Like find not the fun, it's because that's just it's a very narrative-y kind of thing, but like find the meat of it and then just stick to that as much as you can. And and I worked with another shout out to Empress Lua. She worked with me on like the first part of the narrative. We did the first like season, if you like, the first flashback, and that was the entrance for the jam. And then I took it away and was like, you know what, I would actually like to finish this. And so I kind of just built upon these extra sections, and rather than Evan being passive in each flashback, he's like passive in the first one, and then you have some player control in the second one, and the third one is like in pieces because it's so traumatic, and so on, right? So I was trying to introduce a different gaming mechanic or some kind of difference between each piece, so it didn't feel like you were always playing the same thing.
One might say fragments.
I tried not to use the word, but yes.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
What are we, some kind of Suicide Squad?
No.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, like, and I just want to get a sense of timeline. How long? So you're saying things like Game Jam, and like you went after that to create things. And I have a bit of ADHD, so I might have forgotten what you said. But how long did it take to make this game in general?
I started it like right at the beginning of November, and then it was released end of January, and I pretty much worked on it solidly, like almost every day. I even took a few days off my day job to like crunch it, basically, because I really wanted to get it out as soon as possible, because I recognized that the more time I worked on this small game, it was making it was pushing Lightway Lines further away, and I really want to get that done. So yeah, I don't know. I've just been putting in a lot of time, a lot of work into these games and projects, but so I guess it was, yeah, I suppose 3 months solidly, like 6 days, yeah.
Oh. That's a solid effort. Like, and you were probably working. It sounds like you were working pretty hard.
Yeah, I think, and there were things that crept up where I was like, oh man, I haven't thought about that, you know, and it all comes at the 11th hour, and all the marketing too, and I think I've learned something new from each project. Like Recruit One taught me a lot about just general like basic RPG Maker stuff, to be honest, because it's my first game. But Fragments, I challenged myself by making the music as well, and it was my first time making my own music with FL Studio, and like Riggy has been using FL for a long time, so like I was really fortunate that he was around to just like answer questions I had about it. How do you do this? How do you do that? And so that really honestly links into like what I imagine we'll touch on with streaming. Is it's felt like I'm not on my own here. It's like an open office thanks to these tools that we have at our disposal, like Twitch and Discord, where we can kind of just bounce off each other and keep each other in check and be accountable and help each other. I honestly believe I would never have had those two games done if it wasn't for these two platforms, and more importantly, the people involved.
Yeah.
I edit these podcasts in FL Studio, so
nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
such a great tool.
Yeah, I'm FL
That's
head. Yeah,
incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say it hasn't changed in the past, in the last 20 years either.
Yeah.
It's added more things, but the UI is still pretty much the same.
Still as like. Yeah. I'd say the FL Studio like UI is pretty newbie unfriendly. I mean, you can put together like a pattern for like a drum thing, but like beyond that, it can be quite daunting, I guess.
Yeah, it is. You're right, and I've tried it in the past, but I found a tutorial that was like 15 minutes long on YouTube, and it is like the best tutorial I've ever found for anything. Like it just gave you everything from mixer, pattern, just the stage, and how to grab like a virtual instrument and play with it and then save it, like create a simple 4-beat like pattern or whatever. And it was amazing. I was like, cool, everything just built off that foundation and just kind of ran with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Fragments, go play it now. I'm going to stream it on Friday. Not this Friday. Sorry for those who are watching on Twitch. Okay, this Friday. Okay, if you're watching on Twitch, not this Friday, but when I release the audio podcast, yes, you listener who's listening to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it will be on this Friday. I've spent too much time explaining that, but yeah, like just we'll be playing games anyway every Friday, and this will be one of them. Go play, go buy Fragments. Go ahead.
Nice.
I appreciate you playing it. That means a lot.
Yeah. Least I can do. As for let's switch over. Let's switch gears to the world of hip hop, the world of one of the greatest producers to ever grace this earth.
Yes.
One of the greatest.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the greatest rappers to ever grace this earth.
Yes.
One of the greatest human beings to ever grace this earth.
That one's where we get a little touchy with everybody, but you know what? Yes.
Yes. Clearly, he is transcendent. He ascends. Yes, I said it. He ascends. It is Kanye West. And the game is Yeezy RPG by riggy2k3. It rhymes. All right, so we are going to look at this game. This game is about Christian genius billionaire Kanye West, who is secretly recording in the very same neighborhood, Chicago, that he represents. But deep within hidden catacombs below the streets, an evil is ruminating. For hundreds of years, this entity's been preparing its return to cause havoc on Earth's surface. It's only a matter of time, and the world doesn't know it yet, but it needs a hero. And who better to be a hero than the greatest human being on the planet?
Who could it be?
Who could it be? It's...
Stay tuned.
Riggy. No, it's Kanye West. And he's here to deliver the album of the life. And the clock is ticking.
Yes.
Will he finish in time?
Yes.
Will he complete it?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Gotta play the game.
So we have to play the game to find out. Riggy.
Eventually. Yes.
Yeah. You created Yeezy RPG. Well, you're creating Yeezy RPG. Where did this idea for this game come from? Was it just simply because of your love for hip hop? And what was this kind of this passion project? You said it came sort of as a joke first, but then kind of progressed from there. And so what is your? I guess what I'm saying is, what is your aim, or what do you aim to do with this game? Yeah.
Okay, so I don't even know, man. To be honest with you, it's mostly like I've wanted to put out a game forever. I always grew up like being really jealous of all these cool people that could make cool games, and I was like, "Ooh, I'll learn and I'll be able to do it," and then never really get there. And it's the game, if anything, is just a whole bunch of shit that I really like thrown into one project, and references all these things that I love. And it's just a tribute to all that stuff, but also like to complete the goal of creating something that I'm completely proud of, that I did completely on my own and with my own intentions. And Kanye West is the vehicle, and RPG Maker is the vehicle for that personal goal.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And So I never hold anything back with it. I try all these things that I've always wanted to try. One of my favorite things of this whole thing, and with streaming the development and being more open about the development in general, is that like I get messages from people that are people that I look up to, and people whose games that I've always loved playing, and I think that it's just going to be something really fun. I think people will laugh at it. And I think it's just, I don't know. It's really hard to put into words. It's kind of like asking the questions. It's kind of like, I like that it's just something that I'm making for me, and getting other people involved, and growing and developing an interest in game development together with other people, Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And kind of word vomited a little bit, but it's a passion project.
Yeah. And what is a riggy?
What is a riggy, man? Who knows, dude? Who even knows? Now you gotta stay tuned for my next game, Riggy RPG.
Oh my god.
I mean, you could seriously just do a mod for Yeezy RPG where all the Kanye West busts are replaced with Riggy.
Yeah.
And the name is Riggy. And Riggy is making an album, the album of the life.
Maybe we should push for rpgmaker.net to develop something like a workshop, like what Steam has. You know how Steam has the workshop where you can get mods and things for games? It's like, let's just do it for RPG Maker projects.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll ruin everybody's game for free.
And let me just gush about like Yeezy RPG for a second, because
sure.
like it's better than Kanye Quest. No, I mean it's like, I don't want to put it in such blunt terms, but it feels like so much effort has been put into it.
Sure.
And it's the graphics are really neat, and like the way that everything kind of slots together. And it's got some surreal elements as well. Like it's trying something like different moods, and like I haven't like played it, but like is it like a sort of coherent storyline? It's not just like jokes all the way down, right? It's like there's emotions and stuff there.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't. It definitely doesn't have like the whole thing is a cohesive plot. You know, like it's gonna tell a story. It's gonna be surrealist in the fact that it's gonna take real life people and real life acknowledgements, you know, like things that are going on in their lives or with their music or whatever, and use them as references. But like otherwise, it's, you know, it's a fantasy game, and it does notice, like it pays attention to that too. You know what I mean?
And it feels like it pays tribute, like almost like a sort of love letter to some of your favorite artists. It feels like it's a loving thing almost. I don't want to. I mean, that sounds weird, but like just saying like these are the artists that you really enjoy and you wanted to make something with their superheroes, kind of like that Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden thing, except rappers, you know, like these are the superheroes of the modern age sort of thing. I find that's something. When you hear Yeezy RPG, I'm just like, heck yes, I want to play as Kanye West, the superhero. Like,
yeah, totally,
yeah.
And you know, like we talked about before, you know, he's the dude says all these gnarly things, you know, and does gnarly things all the time, and it's fun to just like step back from that as like him being a person, like a person of interest or like a celebrity or whatever, and just like contextualize it completely differently, and find a different like a different approach of the like humor, you know, a different approach for humor, you know,
like a loving parody satire kind of vibe to it as well, because you're talking about him as a real person, but it's like a send up as well as a kind of like look at how ridiculous and absurd it is as well, because I think Kanye Quest 3030 like capitalized on the absurdity of it without really engaging with the emotional side of Kanye. Because Kanye is a very emotional person, like on the real. Like he's got a lot of emotions like bubbling up inside of him all the time. You can just tell. Ripe material for making a RPG, a JRPG.
Who would have thought, huh?
Yeah. The guy just generates a well of content as well for you to dig out.
Like the very fact that while you're developing this game, more plot points are being revealed that you're like, okay, crap, I guess I have to kind of add that now.
I actually, there's this whole thing about him and Kim Kardashian getting divorced. And it's like, man, if this is happening, you know, like this is going to seriously mess up one of my systems in my game, you know, and I'm going to have to go back and kind of reword it and repurpose it so it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess that's because, you know, with it being him being a timely figure or it being timely topics or something, it's kind of the risk that I run with it. But
yes, because his life is sort of has a lot happening right now. Like there's just a lot happening to him that you're kind of looking like, okay, is this going to be in good taste? Is this going to be good? You know, this is still loving, right? Like you made this out of love for Kanye. Yeah. At the core of it, you know. Yeah. Anyway. And I'd also like to talk about like streaming. Like Twitch. You're both streamers.
Yeah, man.
And you both do it like hardcore. Like, Riggy's like doing video. I know I do a stream like once every week, like a 6 hour stream, and that drains me. Like it absolutely drains me. The life, like by the end of it, I'm like sweating. It's intense. And I don't know how someone does it so regularly. And I'm looking at Riggy's. I haven't been following Coda's as closely. But I'm just looking at it now. I'm just seeing how often do you stream, Coda?
I stream 3 times a week.
Oh wow!
So it's actually probably not as much as Riggy though.
Yeah.
Like and I tend to cap my streams at like don't tend to go any longer than 3 hours because I get the sweats and and I'm like, oh my god, I need to chill for a second. It's hard. It's tough.
I need
Yeah.
mental breaks. Like
Yeah.
one like podcast takes a lot out of me, sure. But yeah, like when playing the game as well and trying to connect with an audience and doing all these things at once, like I will need like after a little while I just need a break.
Yeah, and there's pretty much I pretty much only exclusively stream RPG Maker development, and so I don't get a time to stream and kick back and play something and chat all the time. I'm always like focused, and I can only do that for so long. So it's a little different like that, and again, it can take it out of you.
So you feel like it? Do you feel like it takes less energy to do what you're currently doing than say playing a game and trying to like? Do you still try and entertain while you're like building games, or you're kind of just like, hey, you can watch me play or you can watch me make, but I'm not going to like pander to you?
No,
Right.
I mean, it's a good question, but no, for me, there's always got to be a reason that I've even begun a stream, and it's like usually it'll be like I'll try and isolate, okay, what am I doing today, and I'll try and focus in on one or two things, and I'm kind of using the audience like in a sense of like kind of rubber ducking, like just explaining my process, because it helps me. It's ultimately helping me a lot to talk out loud and like and hang out with people. And it's like I explained earlier, like it's like hanging out in an open office with other people who are doing things that are similar to you. And like I try and be entertained. Like I'm pretty low key, and I'm like just, I'm just kind of like it's my own vibe, and everyone who comes into my channel knows what they're gonna get. Pretty much. But like, I don't know, I really enjoy it, and I think that it's like Ricky said earlier, it keeps me accountable, keeps me on track. I have people that bug me to be like, hey, when's your next stream,
Finish the game, damn it.
Finish the game. And I need that, and I think it's like it's good for my mental health to not be just on my own in this room making this game and talking to nobody, and like not getting inspired, no influence, no understanding of what other people are doing. And I kind of double down on that with RPG Maker, in that like it is a very niche category on Twitch. And it's hard to find other people making RM games. And what I'm trying to do on Twitch, my goal, the reason I'm on there, is I'm trying to pull together everybody that develops using the engine and create connections there and get people talking about their games and promote their games and lift them up, because I care a lot about the engine and the community around it, and I want that to be my contribution.
Same, absolutely the same. Like RPG Maker Cola it's just a vehicle to like promote like developers I think are dope. Like that's pretty much it. But like as for like, I think it's very unique having like a dedicated developer stream where people can look onward and go, hey, I find that inspiring. I'm going to make my own thing. It's like being around someone who's working. Whereas where we watch like a Riggy stream, I'll just be like utterly transfixed by this personality who's like constantly entertaining and like engaging with his chat. Like, that's a different style, I feel, maybe to what I feel like you're two different kinds of streamers. You provide two entirely different types of streams that people can kind of join in on.
Yeah,
man. I mean, you can see my VOD right now. I'm just moving a green dot around for 10 minutes on the screen. I'm like just trying to figure out how something works. And I don't know, I think people like that. And then, and like I get people who also use the engine, ask me questions, and then I'll be like, oh, I use this plugin, or oh, this is my method for doing that. And then sometimes I'll be like, hey, show me what you're doing. Like I don't prevent anybody from sharing links or whatnot. Like you can do whatever you want in my channel. And then I'll bring up like screenshots or Steam pages, stuff like that, and I'll plug them, and I'll remember them when they come back. Like, hey, how's your game doing and stuff? Because I genuinely want to know and create some kind of connection there. So, and streaming is that perfect vehicle for it.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Check it. Oh man,
yeah,
hoodie.
There's the codapill
cool
hoodie. It's the one that Ricky's wearing right now, I think. But like for code, like I just want to go back to that. I'm sorry for distracting with Riggy on the video version of the podcast, but yeah, like yeah, that's the power of Riggy. I think codapill. Wait, let me just pause this. Can I just pause this? It's just too transfixing. Yeah. So yeah, let me start again. So codapill, whenever you like do that kind of stuff and fostering community, I just find that extremely admirable. And it was just kind of like, now the Uno reverse at the beginning of this podcast makes sense. When you like reversed it on me and said, "Hey Cash, or Benny, here's your game. Here's what I like about it," and you like make them almost tear up, and I'm like, I feel like making games again. There was that light that's sparked. So I felt that at the beginning of this podcast, exactly what you're talking about, and that makes it worth it for me. Yeah,
and you should. Yeah, I don't want. It's like, I don't want the community to make a community about that centers around me and the things I'm doing. I want other people. I want to know what other people are doing, and that's definitely my goal. And to kind of boost each other. That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, and you're also in the kind of park where you're like, I don't think. Do you ever do face cams or no?
I do. The last like couple streams I haven't, but I generally do.
Oh, you generally do. Okay. I was gonna say the reason why I don't put my face cam up is it puts too much stress on me. It puts too much. I feel bad like when the camera's on me. So
I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like a lot of the time, like it doesn't matter quite so much for what I do, because like I'm not reacting to stuff. I'm not. It's a bit different. You would just see me like concentrating for an hour, like or like stressing over something that's broken.
But at least there's a face that's there that they project feelings onto the face. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So I do generally have face cam on.
Yeah. As for, I'm gonna switch to like I suppose Riggy's stream, which is like playing games and also making games. You do like both, right? And you have the face cam. Yeah. I'm sorry to embarrass you by showing you your own face, but yeah.
No, I've seen it. It's all right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, let me ask about that.
Sure.
How do you feel about like? Do you enjoy having a face cam when you're streaming? Like, is that? Yeah, you do, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I do, man. Like, I like to be like a personality, and like. Yeah. I think that's one of the fun things about streaming. You get to be a little vain, and you can like hang out if you really want to. You don't have to, because some people just go on and just play a game or whatever. But like, I genuinely enjoy the act of like setting up the camera and the light and everything and an atmosphere, and like, because a lot of the people that I like watching, it's like I always try to pick and pull things from streamers that I really like, and try to rip them off a little bit about something or other, and yeah. Then you can, and it also keeps my room clean. My bed's always made.
That's a good point.
Now let me think about like where the logic comes from. Do you stream after your room is clean, or do you clean your room because you're streaming?
Dude, I clean my room because I am streaming. I'm not even afraid to admit that. I'm like, better not look like a slob.
Yeah, it's great. I like look at streamers online. I'm like, why does my room always look like a mess, and these guys always have like, these wonderful rooms?
Yeah.
But it's good. And as for like, I say like, there's a big community that's centered around not only Coda but DZ and other streamers as well. Mm-hmm. I just want to shout them out. Because what sort of happens is you've got this community with yourself and DZ. Yeah, maybe just explain. I know a lot of the viewers who are currently on the Twitch stream might know about this, but explain what the DZ and Riggy community is.
Oh man, it's gonna look like a mess today because a friend of ours, Mandy Ann, was building a Twitch bot that does what DZ stream does. DZ PG1 is my best friend in the world, dude, and also a streamer and incredibly funny. And him and I started streaming together because I pressured him. I was like, dude, I watched a couple streamers, I'm figuring it all out. And like, I think he's funnier. I think he can hold his own with it and whatever. And so we kind of we came up kind of learning how to do it together. The Discord started because I knew more about it, but not enough, and he didn't know anything about it. But like we both were kind of always hanging out in each other's streams anyway, so we were like, okay, we're best friends in real life, we're best friends streaming, let's make a Discord like that. And it's been really cool, man. In the past couple weeks, you know, maybe a month and a half or so, like the community's really grown, and now I finally like I have this cool community that is my own, that these people are becoming my best friends, if not haven't been for a while now or whatever. And it's really cool to see that grow and to facilitate for yourself after being a part of so many cool communities to begin with, you know?
Yeah. It feels weird. Like I've done it too. Like I've created my own little RPG Maker Cola Discord, and there's people there and they're doing stuff. Like it feels so weird, and it's about your stuff, and you're like, wait, why are you interested in this that I'm doing? I suppose you might both have that phenomenon where you create something. I'm not sure if you do, but then you released, and then people are like interested and they love it, and you're kind of like, why?
Oh, it's weird.
Why do you like my stuff? I don't know if you get that. Do you get that phenomenon, or is it a little bit? Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I had people review fragments on random websites, like blogging about it and stuff, or like putting out videos, just going through. I'm like, how did you find this, and what prompted you to go as far as writing about it? This is so amazing. This is so wholesome. But it's really weird though. Yeah, it doesn't stop being strange.
Yeah. And Coda and I also came from Vagabond Dog's community. Like a lot of the stuff that I think both of us learned from community building or integrating yourself into one came from him and all the homies and friends that we made from there, you know. And like it's been a long time now, Coda. We were talking about that every time we resub on Twitch, you know. It's like, dude, we've been homies for kind of a long time now, you know.
It's
and
true. Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. Very
like Vagabond Dog as a community is like quite a thoughtful place to be of. I don't know. I think it stems from the creators. Like Justin Emakani is like, he's like one of the quickest wits I've seen online. Very extremely witty. I almost feel threatened by his. I had that episode with Will O'Neill and Justin Emakani, and I felt outmatched. They're just extremely, you know, well thought out, and I just it's a great community to be a part of.
The same way that RPGmaker.net, you know, and the Discord channel, or the Discord and everything, like facilitates RPG Maker culture and community one way. Like you gotta give a hand to Vagabond Dog, because he kind of introduced me to it on Twitch, and from him I found Coda, I found The Great Perhaps, and then from them, you know, I'm finding more and more people, and I'm watching people do the dev, and you know, I don't know, it's so interesting that there's like multiple angles and multiple versions of the same community just on these different platforms, and it's cool like when they can kind of coexist like this, you know.
Yeah. And Vagabond Dog Twitch, they stream on Twitch quite a lot as well. Like I've seen just mostly it's Justin and stuff. Like I'm showing a video right now on Twitch, just like him coding stuff. So I think he does like a combination of like coding and making games, and then also like playing games, and then also doing interviews like this one. You know, like he'll just like interview random like industry professionals. I'm just like in awe of their work ethic. Like in creating, it's very inspiring. It's it's very inspiring.
Definitely. And like I think a lot of it started when we were thanks to the pandemic, like Riggy and I are working remotely, and we'd just be at home, and then just in the afternoon it was like, oh, it's 1:00, time to go and hang in Vagabond's stream with with Riggy and Great Perhaps and everyone, like. And while I'm doing my day job, you know, and it just became a cool place to hang, and it just, like as Riggy said, it kind of just fanned out from there, and it's been a ride. Yeah,
absolutely. I think I've kind of exhausted all the topics that I can think of. Do either of you have anything that you'd like to kind of bring up as a topic?
I'm still kind of musing over the fact that, like, It's cool. It's cool that Twitch itself is a platform for RPG Maker. Also, I have something.
Okay.
We're trying to push for RPG Maker to be a universal tag, and not that if you're developing with RPG Maker VX Ace, if you're developing with 2000, 2003, that you don't have to use individual tags. You can use the same one under RPG Maker, and then it can like all work together, and you start to meet more RPG Maker designers and players and whatever a lot easier.
And it needs an icon.
Yes, it needs a freaking icon.
I think Ricky and I first spoke about that like 6 months ago, man.
Yeah,
we were like we were using some old school like Google form to submit new artwork, but Twitch definitely doesn't look at it. And that's why I created the Twitch suggestion, because I was like, right, well, I don't know what else to do, but we've got a bit of a community now. There's like lots of people I know, and I can probably push this and see if I can get it upvoted, and it has got some buzz, which has been nice, but any further buzz would be wildly appreciated to try and get everybody in one area. Because when I stream dev, if I'm looking for someone to bring the people who are watching me over to, I'll try and find someone else who's making stuff in RPG Maker, and I always just go straight to RM, and where I might miss people who are deciding to stream into MZ or something, and that's a shame, because I will always go over to people who are like, they might have like 1 or 2 viewers or something and a couple of followers, and it's usually me and the Great Perhaps will go in there and we'll just introduce ourselves like, hey, like we do this too, and they're like, hey, who are you guys, like in this random category, like, yeah, we make RPG Maker games and we want to know what you're doing and hang out with us.
That's
awesome.
And I've always, now this is like an experimental thing. I'm not sure if I brought it. I think I brought it up with Coda and Riggy in chat, or maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm mixing them with someone else. But I talked about the possibility of like somehow consolidating one place for RPG Maker streaming, and like maybe like a website or like I don't know, Discord or something. I've just been thinking of the idea of consolidating and using like teamwork to like bring everyone together on the same page when it comes to streaming within the RPG Maker community. We kind of do it like manually when we like say, hey, let's raid this person, let's raid that person. Yeah. But oftentimes I won't even know what RPG Maker streams are happening. And actually I don't know how to raid. I'm going to ask like how to raid after this. You guys are going to help me out with that. But so little things like support network for like RPG streamers. And I would love to see more RPG Maker streamers and support for them, and like being able to like promote them and things like that. I'm all about that, because I think streaming can be one of the avenues that hasn't been like fully like taken advantage of yet in the RPG Maker. I think we need more RPG Maker streamers, is what I'm saying. And to make that a more like attractive possibility, there can be incentivized communities around RPG Maker streaming and things like that. This is like a pretty high concept thing I want to like kind of bring, but
it's funny you mention it, because I've always thought about making a Discord, but I didn't want to make a Discord that was surrounding like just my game or two. It just felt very pigeonholed. So I actually have made an RPG Maker like streamers Discord, and started gradually inviting people into it. Why
am I not invited?
I need to. I'm being called out right now. But I think I actually made it like a few days ago, and it was like me and the Great Perhaps kind of like just kind of manning it and figuring it out. And I think she might drop the link in
go ahead,
in
drop
the Twitch
that
chat.
link. Yeah, I'll put the link in the tweet post that I put out for this episode. Yeah.
Just so my idea behind it is like, if you're going live, there's a channel for that, so we can get RM people in there, and then there's a place for suggestions, what you showcase what you're doing, and the kind of niche aspect of it, maybe, if you will, is that I want to make a whatever game you're making, I'm going to make a channel that's dedicated to that game, and you can like post updates and things like that inside your own game channel, and so everyone can have an idea of where you're at and see screenshots and take part and all that kind of lovely stuff. So it's very in its infancy, but we're slowly going to build it out.
Yeah. I'm all for that. Yeah, I'm getting distracted by visual stuff again. My ADHD is activating. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that's a great idea. Let's have the plans. Let's get investors, $1 billion, angel investors, on this plan. Yeah, that's what we want.
Awesome.
Yeah. Any other kind of topics we want to bring up? About anything really? I do have one more question, and the question was by where was it? Oh, it was by Phyrus, the Sith Juggernaut, who says, "Will Kanye wear the Minecraft block outfit in the game with Lil Pump?"
I cannot confirm or deny that at the moment.
That's great. Well, this has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. I've been a little bit nervous about it because of the whole live streaming thing, but I think it actually, I think we knocked it out of the park, guys. I think we just
yeah, man,
home run.
It was great. You were brilliant. Wonderful hosting job.
It was like what Coda and I do have been doing for months is just trying things and testing things out, and then also breaking things. So honestly, it's cool that we could all do this together, man.
Exactly.
I have great guests. This is the chance for our developers to plug or promote anything they'd like to promote. We'll start with Codapill. How can we follow you? How can we follow your progress? What can we do to support you? Yeah. How can we support you?
Back on streaming, twitch.tv/codapill. I'm Codapill pretty much everywhere on Twitter, and those are the two best places. But I guess if you want to check out Lightway Lines on Steam or Fragments, in fact all 3 games are on Steam. Recruit One as well. Give Lightway Lines a cheeky little wish list. Keep it on your on your backlog, and you'll. I need to actually update a lot of the screenshots, so a lot's changed since then. But no, it's
I think every RPG Maker developer knows that feeling where they look at their old page that's old.
Yeah,
every time.
It's a fine balance between with game making, employer and employee, when you're the employee, you're doing all the making and doing the thing that you love doing, but then every now and again you have to be the employer and I guess I better update the screenshots, I better tweet out what I'm doing in my game, and etc. etc. So
you're do I have to? And you're like, yes, me, you do have to.
Yes. Have an actual conversation with yourself, and then you go insane.
Yeah, so go buy Codapill's games because he's amazing. Yeah. And as for Riggy, how can we support you?
You can follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. I don't have the same account names for that stuff, so I'm RiggsBase on most social media, but I'm riggy2k3 on Twitch, and that is the most important one. I stream all the freaking time. I love to play RPGs and RPG Maker games. I just played Space Funeral. I'm playing Chrono Trigger right now. I got plans to play a bunch of other stuff. I just finished Amori. And that's where you find me. We have a cool Discord, and I have a YouTube channel also that if you don't catch a VOD, I've also got little wrap-up videos that I'm really proud of, and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm always pushing out content. Just follow me on Twitch and join the Discord, and you can see all that stuff for yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I also just, before I forgot, wanted to also shout out a lot of the stuff that's unique and on a technical basis in my games is thanks to a friend I work with called Gimmer.
Yeah.
And his itch site has some incredible RPG Maker MV plugins. It's gimmer.itch.io.
How do you spell that?
GIMMER.
Okay.
And then .itch.io. He just is such a machine at helping me achieve some of the ridiculous things I request to have in my games. He's like highly driven programmer, very, very knowledgeable. And we work really well together because I kind of make it look nice and he makes things work. So definitely I have to shout him out because he's done such awesome stuff and he shares all his plugins for free. So
is he on Twitter?
No, he's pure just itch.
That's the thing. I've never heard of them. I would love to kind of give this a little bit of a boost somehow, but I mainly work on Twitter, so that's like the easiest way for me. I'm like Twitter based. I'm like I simp for followers, but
I mean, he's just done like just crazy things, like you know how you can only have images in your pictures folder. He's and nothing else. He's made like so that you can have subfolders inside your pictures folder. Or how about reordering the maps in RPG Maker? You know how it's really hard to really rejumble those things. So he's made a plugin for that, and then or even just at a technical level, like splitting the JavaScript files from being one huge JavaScript file to being like 50 that are like segmented into like the right components. Yeah. And so so if you're an MV developer, you know exactly what I mean. It's everything, you know, really componentizing everything. So he's just a really smart dude.
It just looks slick, like just the way they're presented. Go and check out gimmer.ditch. No, that's not the word. Gimmer.itch.io. Get the plugins, get it in ya. And thank you to the guests. It's been awesome. It's been great. So now we come to the closing of our podcast. I'd like to say thank you very much for listening. You, dear listener, whether you're on stream, whether you're just, you know, chilling out, listening to the recorded version of this podcast, whether you've seen the antics that I've been, the little visual jokes I've been doing that will not be translated to the audio medium. It's been really, really fun to have you here. This has been the RPG Maker Cola Podcast, and we are saying goodbye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.